was very, very quirky. Let me have a look over here. This is very disturbing because it's all supposed to work, you know? Let me go over here with you guys. Let me just check in. I'm sorry about that. As you know, Windows basically told the whole planet, probably 1,000 million people, that we're going to do a major upgrade and everything's going to be better. Okay? And there's no way out of it, so I had to do my thing. I could blame the planets, but I'm not going to. I'm going to blame Windows. It sent a message over here. It said, I'm sorry, this is Windows. We have detected a problem. We are shutting you down. That's literally what it said. Can you imagine what it would be like if I was running a hospital or if I was a day trader on Wall Street and I had billions of dollars in stock trades? And then Windows said, oh, excuse me, sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah, this will be Gemini part 2. Like you said, Fruitily, yeah, it's perfectly appropriate. Thank you very, very much. I'm not going to look for any excuses or find ways to blame it on the planet right now. I just want to get on with your reading, Gemini. So there's going to be 2 videos for you, Gemini, because I don't know how to edit 2 videos into 1 video. I'm sorry. All right? So let's go back. Whew, man. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't mean to shut people down or shut people out, okay? So, Frittily, it's just you and me right now, as far as I can tell. If there's anyone out there, please check in. Please check in. It really helps to know that you guys can log in, all right? All right, let's get back to where we were. I just want to do a very quick recapitulation. Dear Gemini, we've already been going for a while, but we got shut down by Windows. Probably we're not the only one. So there's a whole other video about this stuff, okay? And we're going to put it all in the playlist, okay? I'm going to mark it very clearly. Gemini part 1 and then Gemini part 2. So we've already finished this. I'm basically just going to wrap it up. Okay, so if you want all this stuff, you have to go to the other video. All right, thank you. So we're going to go straight to the next part, which is going to be a reading about using the Crucible spread. I don't know what to say if this whole thing crashes again. I'm gonna go up to Seattle myself and I'm gonna knock on Bill Gates' front door. Okay? All right. Thank you, Frittily. It really helps to our Lumination to know that you are out there. Okay? So I'm going to use a miniature Crucible spread. It's still very valid, and it's just very, very compressed. Okay? It's on the understanding that there's you, Gemini, and there's a significant other, and there's a third entity itself, the relationship. So I call that thing a crucible. Okay, it's going to look like this. You'll see a crucible is a bowl they use in laboratories to contain very high stress chemical reactions, okay, inside the bowl. And it's the same thing that happens in human relationships. That's why I have this crucible spread. Okay? And there's a lot that can come out of it. It's like a living thing. There's you, Gemini, there's the other party, then there's the relationship itself, so that would form the crucible. And it's like a living thing, like a potted plant, like a business, and you guys own it. Hopefully you are aware of this. Not a lot of people are. So many people conduct their lives and relationships face-to-face, one-on-one like this, as if there's nothing else, and it's just a very simple three-dimensional activity. The reality is there's so much more going on in the world of relationship. It's a vast, vast landscape of opportunity for living, loving, learning, growing, healing, okay? So let's have a look. Sorry, I'm going to put these tucked way over here. I'm going to cut it up. Cards are already well shuffled, okay? This is a very extreme cut. Today, for some reason, we're having very extreme cuts. Hey, Frittily, can you see? It looks like we scared everybody away. No one else is signed in from what I can tell. If there's any observers out there or newbies or anything, feel free to log in and check in and let us know what you're up to, okay? Here we go. Here, imagine this is yourself. Think of yourself like a smartphone. What are you radiating in voice mode? Okay, so signals can come in and go out at the same time, just like a smartphone in voice mode. There is a vibrational frequency that goes with that. So that's what that looks like, okay, for you. And it's the same with a significant other. There might be multiple significant others, or you might be just thinking about one in particular. Hopefully this will resonate, and it will you will recognize yourself and another in this story, okay? Over here at the core, this is the third entity, okay? Over here, so I'm hoping you could see that this is the crucible itself. Think of this as a potted plant. And here is the pot. And then the plant grows in here, and you own this thing. And you're surrounded by energy all day, every day. And you have the opportunity to make decisions all day, every day. The healing power of decisions. Every relationship has certain characteristics, okay? It's not just you, it's just not the other. It's the relationship itself. Now you can't, hold it in your hands like you could hold yourself or hug yourself, or you could be hugged by each other, but the relationship exists as an entity, okay? Synastry is the interaction, and the other is the relationship itself, okay? Yet there are separate charts. There are multiple versions of it. I prefer to use the composite chart, so because it's a very deep type of way of looking at relationships. Anyway, here we go. Surrounding all of this, think of this as a potted plant, would be the energy. Welcome back, whoever that is. I'm sorry for the blackout. Windows crashed. Okay, not Terralumination, not YouTube, not my computers, not my cameras, nothing. Windows itself crashed, not the computer. So, file your complaints to Microsoft. Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to look at the weather. We have the Five of Swords. Okay, this is very delicate energy. Okay, my feeling very delicate to handle for you, Gemini, coming through this month. There's a lot of sweet, good energy happening for you with the astrology, that's for sure. But it might put you in a position where it might make you feel almost like overly confident. I don't know how else to explain what I'm sensing here. Doing what you have to do. There's nothing wrong with you being Gemini, being who you are and doing what you have to do. And if other people can't handle it, that's their problem. But there's a very strong emphasis this month on community and the things that work and that don't work in community, okay? So sometimes in community settings, we have to subdue our, our natural exuberance of the ego and the self in preference to prioritize the community, okay? That you're going to see that. This is the 11th house of community. So my feeling is that you're going to start the month with this natural exuberance here, and just like going for it, living your life, and then probably a couple of weeks later realizing that you might come up against some obstacles, and it's not like anyone's trying to harm you or anything, but with the Five of Swords energy here, you get to a point like, just imagine the analogies what we were using earlier in the storyline for the Astrodoodles, okay, all about this and the kids in the playground and having fun and being happy. Have you ever been in that situation, Frittily, or anyone else who's out there listening, where you're just being you? You're having your fun, you're doing what you do, you're smart, you're capable, you're active, you're involved with others, others involved with you, and then you do something and you're not aware of the consequences because you're just doing what you have to do, and then eventually a couple of kids walk away and they kind of go, I don't know, I don't want to do this anymore, and then more people leave and you realize, I'm on my own. What just happened? We were just having fun. Where did everybody go? And then everyone else is kind of like, well, you were just like, you were over the top. So this is a very awkward message for me to deliver to you, Gemini, because this is such a nutritious, fun, delicious month for you in terms of the energy here, but it's an awful lot. You might be getting so overexcited, overstimulated about how much fun it is to be Gemini and to be happy in love and life and relationships, and only to realize that, maybe not everyone else has your luck. maybe not everyone else is having as much as fun as you. And then if you like take it too far, it's like everyone else is like, it's no fun anymore. It's not even fun because it's supposed to be fun. We're all part of the community. And then it's like, you know, now all you want to do is be the boss of it and win. It's like going off to play poker, and it's very fun for you, and you're really good at it, and you win every hand, and everyone else goes like, this isn't fun anymore. You know, we're just gonna go off and play with somebody else. Okay. I know that sounds like a very strange interpretation here, but that's what I'm feeling very, very strongly. Okay, Gemini. So I hope that helps you. Let's have a look. What are you radiating here? So with the Four of Swords, my feeling is that there's a part of you that understands this, but you wouldn't ever want to admit it. And so what you're actually trying to do, it's actually almost like you're trying to calm yourself down. You know, Geminis, it's so easy for you to become so excited and have so much fun so quickly, and to communicate that and share that with everybody in every single possible way. And then you get these, you know, almost like ricochets from friends, from society, from activities, where you start to doubt yourself and realize it's just like, well, you know, this is not anything you would want to express openly, naturally with people. And the Four of Swords here, I feel, is not anything that you're wanting to share openly with people. It's about realizing that, oh my gosh, I really do have to be careful. I need to mind my own business better. I need to be much more aware of the impact of my energy on other people, and how if I don't like get my act together and I do the healing on myself first, then all I'm doing is projecting the bits and pieces of me that are not evolved and grown and adapted onto other people. And then you discover and learn the hard way about what is not working for you in life and love and relationships, especially probably several or one or two or just one significant relationship. So this is a very, very, to me, looks like a very sensitive, very delicate reading. It's almost like taking the energy of a really happy, fun, intelligent child and saying, go play in the yard. And you need to learn things. So the child does that, comes back, and it's like, Mom, my house is like, why did everybody go home? I was just having so much fun. And then very gently the energy comes down to you, almost like a saintly energy comes into your presence. It's just like, dear Gemini, you were meant to experience this thing. Nothing bad is happening. This is just how people learn, okay? We learn through our community, from sharing ourselves with others and others sharing themselves with you. And so it's an important time. It's almost like a shock wave. You realize, oh my gosh, I have to do work on myself. I have to do my own bits of self-healing. Oh dear, that's not much fun. It's just like, to me, it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel fair to the Gemini. On the other hand, there's a part of you that knows and understands this perfectly. Okay? Oh gosh, hey, fertility. I wish Linda was here and Steve was here and Hola was here and All Sun and Queen of Water. I guess we just scared them off. I don't know what happened. Maybe they thought that little thing was just the whole reading. Jeez. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a look. What about the other? Okay, so with the Lovers here, my feeling is that we're really, really touching on the very, very delicate parts of love and life and relationship. And you might notice that in the context of a very, very significant other, someone who you value very highly, that you love, that you cherish, or perhaps someone else who cherishes you very highly, loves you very, very much. And suddenly, out of just sort of random circumstances in October, they are getting a glimpse of the unevolved sides of Gemini that they were not aware of before. It's just, again, it's like the kid in the playground, like everything was going so great and everything's fine. There's all of a sudden like, why is the ricochet here when everything theoretically should be okay? Ah, I see you, Steve. Thank you so much. Whew, I was worried there for a moment. So again, this feels very awkward. And what I'm sensing is for the Geminis over here is that you're dealing with someone who is on really like a very significant alert, almost like they are one of the people who felt like disrespected or disavowed or, let's say, misunderstood or stepped over by the Gemini energy, even though the Gemini didn't mean any harm. There was harm after all, and then the other party is like a reflection of that, and eventually it's like the other, let's just say there is someone who cares about you enough, Gemini, that they come back at you and they say, you know what? You used to be so much fun. We used to have so much fun together in the playground doing that and that and that. And I think you're awesome, man, but it's just like, you just get carried away sometimes. And some of us can't keep up with you. I can't keep up with you. And so what I just witnessed is like the downside of the Gemini energy. And that makes me have to show you the downside of myself. It's almost like I wish I didn't have to have this energy right now, because now we're exposed to the baggage of each other. I am now exposed to the unevolved parts of you, dear Gemini, that need healing. Let's just call that baggage. And in return, you are now effectively exposed to me and all the unevolved parts of me that I know that need healing now. The baggage that I carry in love and relationship. Damn it. I wish I didn't have to be this or do this. And then the Gemini says, it's okay, I understand. I was a little bit out of line. I'm working on my own self-healing, okay? I hope you don't mind. And then the other one says, oh, really? Really? Seriously? And then you say, yes. It's almost like, I'm sorry about that. I'm working on my own self right now. I know I have to do a lot of upgrades and self-healing. I was just so happy having so much. I didn't mean to step on you or overthrow anybody or anyone else. And I'm sorry you had to experience my baggage. And then they're like, oh, wow, that's so evolved of you. So you must have really got something out of the Tarot Lumination October reading to be able to say that at all. That's really cool. Because honestly, you have exposed me to my own baggage. And I wish I didn't have to be, but I'm learning so much from you now. Thank you very much. So are we friends again? Can you, are you going to like come back and join us and have fun and not just like you show off to everybody and show how smart you are because you can win everything and you're so smarter all the time? And then you say, yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Okay? And then it's like, okay, so we're friends again. Clickety click. Mwah, mwah. We're buddies. We're mates again. Yes. Even with all our baggage. Even though you need self-healing. Even though they've been exposed to their baggage. Yes, you can get back to the basic fundamental realities of life, that we're all deeply flawed, and we learn by interactions, by community, in our community with each other. We bump up against each other's baggage, our weaknesses, our frailties, and we learn. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's have a look deep inside of here. So at the core, we've got the Emperor energy here. My feeling here is that this whole October season is a real chance for you, Gemini, to get deeper and deeper in touch with your most sovereign self, your most powerful self, and the discomfort that comes with it. Okay? When you think of the Emperor energy, it's all powerful. It is very powerful, and it is almost like completely ruthless when it has to be, because its only concern is its own well-being and own happiness. And it's fantastic when you're best mates with the Emperor and the Emperor is in a good mood. It really sucks when you're best mates with the Emperor, but the Emperor goes into a bad mood. Then they can just take it all out on you. So what I'm thinking is happening here in this relationship dynamic is like in a very subtle, very, let's say, theatrical way, October is going to be a really good chance for you, Gemini, and others, highly significant others in your life, to discover like the limits, okay, of what it's like to be powerful, and then what it's like to take it to the limits, almost to the abuse of power. And then it's like everybody, in other words, everybody loves you, Gemini, when you are on form. when you are being the most ultimate Gemini, there for the others, others there for you, a really good speaker, a really good listener, adding all the value that you can to your community, sharing your knowledge, your information, helping others. And that's fantastic in a very selfless kind of way. It's just fantastic energy. The thing is, it sucks when it becomes self-oriented. And then it becomes like the dictator, the megalomaniac, the narcissist. And so you learn, I'm not saying that's what you are, except you get glimpses of it. You get a chance through October to get a glimpse of what it's like to be really, really in your zone, totally on your game, to the point where you're just the winner all the time. And then eventually that sucks. Nobody wants to play with someone who's always winning all the time. It's just tedious and boring, and no one else has a chance to evolve. And so you have to kind of temper the ego a little bit. So I think it's a tremendous chance to learn, okay? A tremendous learning opportunity. What flourishes here? Okay, so with the Queen of Cups, and that opens up the heart energy. Because Gemini, you know how easy it is and natural for you to do everything from the neck upwards. Okay, hold on. Let's have a look. Let me just show you. Hey, Geminis. I just wanted to let you know that I don't have any, like, there was a time years ago when I had 3 Gemini buddies in my life. These were like my mates, my buddies. I did everything with them. And they were very cerebral, and they were very sweet and fun and loving and caring, and it's almost like they had no egos at all, because everything was done from here. And they just happened to be good people, so I think a lot of their heart energy just came through here anyway. But it's so easy for the Gemini to become detached, as though the only thing that exists is their head, like a bobblehead, like, oh, like this. That's all it is, a head full of thoughts, intellect, ideas. There's so much more, and all I'm suggesting is that the energy is so rich and luscious and supportive of the Libra, of the Gemini stuff, with the Libra new moon and the Aries full moon. It can make you almost like inflated, like, oh my God, this is so full, this is so amazing, and then you forget this part here, and when you forget this part here, other people notice, like, what happened to Gemini? Where'd all the love go, baby? Where'd all the love go? And so it takes maybe a little bit of a, like a little bit of some kind of humbling moment, like something, a humbling, an experience that is kind of humbling towards Gemini, which takes you back into the full Gemini, where you have all of this connected with all of this. Okay, let's go back. That's what I'm trying to suggest here with the Queen of Cups, okay? So, like any awkward experiences in the October season, especially towards the end of the month with the Scorpio-Taurus polarity, where you get like a dressing down. For example, I have someone or somebody or certain people come at you and they're literally dressing you down. It's just like, you know what? You're awesome, Gemini. We absolutely love you and everything. We see what you're doing the best you can to self-heal and grow and all that. But we got to tell you, there are periods when you're just too much. You are just too much. And it isn't fun anymore. You might think it is because you're having fun, but it isn't. And so this is like a shocker, awakening call for you. And you realize, oh my God, I really do have to come from the heart energy. I have to get back. Let's calm down. So you get the dressing down, and then you start to come back to what really, really counts, which is glowing in your full glory, including deep, deep, rich, succulent heart energy, represented here by the Queen of Cups, okay? And then you realize, okay, well, I just was not aware. I was not quite mature enough. But now I understand what you guys are talking about. I get it. And so this, I think, aligns very strongly with the Scorpio new moon, where the Scorpio new moon is going to really push you back into coming from deep heart-centered energy. And in other words, you know, it's such a natural thing for Geminis, like to think and speak, to speak and think, to listen and speak, to speak and then listen. with very few filters because you have such a powerful like processor. But what I'm sensing here is the Scorpio energy is going to like put in like a limiter, like a shock absorber, and it's going to say, dear Gemini, just pause. Take a second here and there. Take a second. Take a few breaths. Listen very, very carefully before you respond. And when you are speaking, be very conscious of the words that you are speaking. Speaking and listening, listening and speaking. Fundamental to Gemini health, okay? And then everything has to be infused with love and heart energy, okay? It's very important. Hey, Laura, I see you. Hey, Getty, I see you. Thank you so much for being here. It's a real treat. There's just a few of you guys, I know that. But it makes a huge difference. Thank you so, so much. Okay? All right. Let's have a look. All right. Now, let's move. I'm just going to chuck this over aside. I hope you can see that this is a really sweet outcome to the reading here. This is what is flourishing. I think you'll notice this much more towards the end of the month, okay? Let's do this. I'm going to tuck this in over here. I'm going to make room. Make room for the next stage of the reading, okay? Like this. Just like so, okay? And I'm going to do another spread. This is going to be the situational spread. This is kind of like a diagnostics, okay? This was very much about you looking in the mirror of relationship, okay? Certain significant others, and the storyline that came up to me here, like I'm watching a movie, I was trying to translate that and transcribe that to you and narrate that as best as I could. So I hope that made sense to you. I'm going to have to remind you again, dear Geminis, there's another part to this report. It's part 1, Gemini part 1. There's going to be 2 videos for Gemini. How cool is that? So there's going to be 13 videos in the playlist, okay? So we're going to move on. Let's go to this part here now. Please hang in with me. Let's bless this deck. Bless every single card. Bless you, everybody's out there. Thank you for being here. Please ask and invite your invisible friends to hang in very, very close with you. That's what I do here. And I really trust all that. And I really believe in all that. And I feel so incredibly fortunate to have all that. There we go. All right, hold on. I need to have some things really, really clear. It's already pre-shuffled, but I like to go to the very last second. No jumpers, no flyers, no reversals. Okay, let's see what's coming up. So I'm going to really split it into a huge quirky cut here for you Geminis. All right, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the weather. You know how I consider the weather. It could be your environment. Maybe you've got certain aspects in your life that are really stressful around you right now. You could consider that the influences, the environmental influences. Maybe there's something really good happening. Either way, I like to consider the planets because not everybody does. I think of the planets in all their magnificence because they're all operating. We have sun, I guess you could call it, okay, celestial bodies, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, all out there like rotating endlessly, and they all have gravitational magnetic impacts on our body, just like the moon, okay? Here we go. Let's have a look. So with the Hermit and energy over here, I think this relates very closely to the storyline and over here in the world of relationship, because it's such a strong energy of relationship dynamics that's flooding into the world of Gemini for October. It's almost overkill, and it would be so easy to overstimulate the Gemini. It's just like so like whoopee wahoo, yeah, you have so much fun. It's like the same analogy, the kid in the playground who's just having too much fun, and it's just like it's messing everything up for everybody else. Like the parents are saying to their other kids, like, get out of the way. The Gemini's here. They're gonna run into you. They're gonna cry. Whatever it is, it's almost like it's an overload. And then the backlash is that you end up kind of like everybody walks away. And then Gemini's like, well, wait a minute. Well, we were just having so much fun. I don't want to overdo that storyline because there's a lot of Geminis out there who might not relate to that story, okay? So, have a look. With the Hermit energy, my feeling is here that this might be kind of a rude awakening where it's like the worst thing that could happen to you, where you have to deal with the energy of singularity, the energy of solitude. It's like, it's fantastic when it works really well. The Emperor energy, when you are in your most magnificent self, including being the most beneficent, caring, conscientious, loving Gemini that you can be, who is vividly aware of every other person in their life. The flip energy of that is the complete megalomaniac narcissist who's having an absolute blast with no consideration at all for anyone else in their life, just so long as they're happy. It's still happy, but it's a happiness in very different ways, and they're conditional. So even if you get a glimpse of what's not working, that might be a shock to you, and you might feel like, oh my God, I'm being isolated, I'm being sequestered, and then you have to figure out what that means. Okay, it's very difficult sometimes for people to understand the hows and whys of being ostracized or being sidelined or being like sequestered. And it might happen very subtly, like no one may be telling you to your face like, you shouldn't have done that, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, because they probably love you and they want to still be friends and buddies, and you want to have a good life, they want to have a good life, and so you end up in this default position where no one's giving you any explanations about why you have to end up dealing with a certain aspect of part of your deep soul energy that is in solitude, and then having to figure out, what does that mean? Well, hopefully this reading will help you to understand that, okay? Let's have a look. What's the situation? Okay, so with the Death card here, the situation is transformation. So I think this is going very much in alignment with the Scorpio new moon at the very end of the month. It's just that, okay, it's almost like you're getting two readings in one. There's the sweet part at the beginning where it's almost too much, where it's almost overload, too much fun, too much happiness. I know it sounds crazy, but maybe it can happen, especially in the storyline that we depicted here. And then you come down to this like very uncomfortable realization, cleansing, refining, clarifying, purifying my day-to-day habits, of how I conduct myself in life, in community, first inside of myself, and so because that impacts others, okay? And then what that means here, because your sixth house of healthy habits is ruled by Scorpio, Pluto energy, which means deep, deep transformation. So my feeling is that the Death card here relates very closely to the Scorpio new moon, where you realize towards the end of the month, like with serious gulp moment, in a very fated way that you would never have wished for, but it's there anyway, and it's ultimately for your benefit. Even though this might be very uncomfortable, because this is like a lot of pressure for you to change your habits, change your behaviors, change some of your tactics, your day-to-day activities in such a way that you come out on the sweet side, okay, over here at the Queen of Cups, having done a lot of self-healing. And the self-healing, I think, you're going to discover pretty early on what aspects of yourself need to change, okay? I don't want to define what that might be. Maybe it could be anything, but this is about the situation. The situation is about you're going to have to change. You are going to have to transform, even if you don't want to. Because if you don't change, if you don't transform, then you end up like in a regressive state where you start wasting all the energy. It all backfires on you, and very negative aspects of these cards start to come out, okay? Which you don't want. So the only way to capitalize this and take full advantage of the good energy of here and here and here is to change. Deep changes inside the self, okay? What are the challenges here? Okay, You might be under extreme self-doubt whether you can actually do this or not, because you already might be so convinced about, you've got a formula for life already. And then you have to face this energy here. This looks like a lot of pressure for you to transform and change, Gemini, in ways that you would never have expected and hardly anybody would have hinted, because this looks like it's very, very deeply buried aspects of your deep soul nature that are going to require the self-healing and the changes in ways that you never ever really thought of before. And that's really uncomfortable. Really, really uncomfortable. It's like somebody, in other words, it's almost like somebody comes up and reprimands you and says, "Dear Gemini, excuse me, but you're going to have to do all these transformations." And then you're like, "Well, what do you mean? I was doing so well. I was doing really, really well. And, I've done so much work on myself already." And then circumstances, the pressure from the environment is unambiguous. It's like, you have to. And that might make you feel like, that's not fair. It's just not fair. You're basically, it's almost like being accused of being a loser. And that would be very humbling, very, very uncomfortable. But it might be that the Gemini needs to have something like this, or live through some kind of experience where there's some kind of humbling thing that happens to the Gemini, where you feel exactly the opposite of a winner, like feeling like a loser, and then realizing, like, damn it, oh no, now I finally understand what Terra Illumination was talking about. And then you realize, my God, I have to own this. I really do have to change. There's no one else who can do it but me. I'm on my own. Gemini is so social, so gregarious, so typically loves to be with others, and others with Gemini. Gemini just is such a good integrator, like being the platform itself for integration. The speaker, the listener, the communicator, the connector, all of that. Gemini is so good at that. And when somebody or something or fate intervenes and says, well, we've got some serious problems, it's going to require some serious changes, okay? And then eventually you realize, oh my God, it's true. Oh my gosh. How am I going to deal with this? What am I supposed to do? Okay. So to me it feels like with the King of Wands here, this is very, very different from the Emperor energy. It's very much in alignment with sovereignty of self and rich, kind, inspirational energy. So to me this feels like, dear Gemini, it's almost like, who on earth is out there who is above you, who could possibly give you a dressing down in order for you to grow and evolve and heal? And yet it might not be a person. It might be someone who really loves you, who had to deliver a really painful message that they would rather have not have told you. And then you realize, oh my gosh, I thank you so much. I had no idea I was screwing up. I was just being the best person I could be. And then everyone else says, we know that, Gemini, but somebody somewhere had to call you out, because sometimes it's too much. And then you realize, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm going to go back to classic Gemini, the one that's fully connected with drive, passion, and heart energy, and in a much more, let's say, manageable way, a much more respectable and highly respected energy, because this is just fabulous. It's so much more fun to be in this energy of absolute dominion and magnificence, but sometimes it's just too much, and it doesn't work with other people. Okay, it's a completely, utterly selfish type of energy. It's great when it works, but it sucks when it doesn't work. Now let's have a look. So back to over here to the King of Wands. It means basically having to get back to be the Gemini, the classic Gemini, fully integrated, fully matured Gemini, who now understands the very subtle, very awkward, very uncomfortable message of the reading so far. And then Gemini goes off and recalibrates to premium high quality Gemini, does like an official apologies. You can do that. It doesn't mean you are being humiliated or humbled. This would be very, very appropriate for you, Gemini, to, if there's anybody who you have offended or have like taken down, even without any kind of intent, but it feels like to others that they might have been disrespected or hurt or maligned or ostracized or ignored or like taken advantage of, and you start to recognize that, the most amazing thing you could do is to literally come up and apologize. Okay? It's sometimes very, very hard to do. It requires humongous humility to do that, to come from this energy and to make like an official apology. But you can understand when you do that, it's full of love and it's full of heart. And then you grow and learn from this. So I hope that helps you. I hope that kind of makes sense, dear Gemini. I'm trying to link the whole thing as like different aspects, different perspectives of your life. Okay, I'm going to pull one more card for you. This is going to be an oracle card. All right, I'm going to use the the Gaia deck because I want to take advantage of the Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn energy, along with the Uranus in Taurus energy, because it's very rich, very deep, heavy, powerful, nutritious energy, and I want to sweeten it up with the Neptune and Pisces and squish all that energy into one little oracle. Okay, here we go. So it looks like this. It looks like this. We're just going to, just bear with me. Now this card might come off at a complete tangent to the rest of the reading, but let's allow for that, okay? Because I don't predict any of this. I don't predict the future. I don't tell people how to live their lives. I don't make decisions for you. I don't do typically yes or no questions and things like that. Your life is yours. You have to make your decisions. The healing power of decisions, they're all on you. You probably know that very, very well, Gemini. Okay? Here we go. Let's do this again, people. Cards were well shuffled in advance, but we're going to the last second so that you are a witness. Let's have a look. Whoa, serious heavy duty cut there. Okay, let's have a look. See what comes up. This one's for you. So we have the dream. Okay. Something is revealed. Insight. Breakthrough. These are key words here. Have you ever seen, when I was a little kid, somebody gave me a copy of the book, The Cat in the Hat, or something, but it was to do with a big tree. And they had this big, big tree, and everybody got to hang out in the tree. And it was an amazing place where all these kids can hang out and party. I don't know if these books still exist. Maybe they do. But to me, I always related to that image of being a little kid at the top of a tree, hanging out with all my friends, looking up at the moon and the sky and the stars and the sun. And I felt very fortunate. Let's have a look. What does it say for you here? All right, dear Gemini, we picked this card for you, the dream. Something is revealed, insight and breakthrough. So let's, find a way to, we're going to relate this to the whole reading, okay? It says here, you will soon break free from a situation that has been causing you concern. Something will be revealed, either in a dream or through someone you know and trust. I'm already seeing the connection. Can you feel it, people? The information that you receive will give you an insight into something that has remained hidden from you for a long time. Something about yourself that you need to know. This will be a big relief for you as you realize that your concerns and fears were unnecessary and unfounded. All is well that ends well. However, do not forget this episode, for it is a recurring theme with you. The next, you could almost take this whole reading, call it an episode, and the very awkward, very delicate subject and theme of this episode could recur again in life. So it might be, like they say here, it might be something that is going to be constantly going to have to deal with, okay? But you can do it, okay? We already figured it out here. We have a plan here, okay? So don't worry, Gemini. All is well that ends well. However, do not forget this episode of the Libra report for October 2019. The next time you are unsure of something, try to refrain from jumping to conclusions which are not based on fact. Also, pay attention to your dreams. And I would also add, pay attention very closely to your loved ones and your relationships and the body language and the communication from the ones that you love and the ones who love you. Pay very close attention. Give yourself some breathing time in between the moments of speaking and listening to really absorb the full context. Pay attention to your dreams. Try to remember them as you wake up. With time, you will intuitively learn their symbolic language. Okay? This message had been floating around in your dream state for some time. Okay, so what I would like to add here, dear Gemini, is that you, at a deep soul level, already knew everything that we're talking about here. But this Libra season is going to bring it to the surface so you can reveal it to heal it. And as uncomfortable as it might be, it's also very beautiful. It's also very joyful, because no one's out here to hurt you. And all that's going to happen is you're going to end up a better, richer, happier, more loving and more loved Gemini than ever before. You can see over here, King of Wands over here, the Queen of Cups over here. So I'd like to think of this as a really sweet outcome. Okay? I love it. I love it, Gemini. I really love it. So I'll put this aside here for you. And that concludes your reading. Let's set this over here. Thank you very, very much. Now, one thing before I go, I want to, let me just check in with you. Hold on, guys. You know, I kept going on with the storyline that involved a lot of childhood activity. That just happened, okay? Because that was felt like it's the only way I could communicate the message. And I'm hoping Geminis don't take that too personally, as though I'm trying to infantilize them or infer that they are immature. It's just the opposite. Geminis tend to be, from my experience, tend to be very youthful, ebullient, and like their default setting is to be happy. They like to be happy. They like to speak and listen and speak, and to be totally immersed in the flow of humanity. And just like a kid loves to play. Kids love to play and be with their playmates, especially with playmates who love to be with them. So that energy felt very strong with me, okay? And that's why I kept going on about it in the reading, okay? So see it from a very positive angle, okay? Give me a second here. I gotta round this off. I think we're doing okay. Let's just leave it like that, okay? And yeah. Hey Steve, were you here the other night? He said, I just saw your note there on the screen. You gotta reveal it to heal it. Yeah, I think it's very, very true. We were here the other night where I was sharing a story about, I had a client, I'm not going to tell names or anything, but she gave me a really amazing story about her daughter, who happens to be a really high-end premium massage therapist on a very expensive super yacht over in the south of France, in Cannes. And one of the clients and the visitors happened to be a famous movie star called Antonio Banderas. And this young woman was giving a treatment, a health healing treatment to Antonio Banderas with the massage and everything. And of course, like most people, they were kind of going like, people make very funny, weird noises when they're getting a massage, if it's a really good massage. And then the girl said, oh, well, Antonio, you've got to reveal it to heal it. And then Antonio burst into laughter. Okay? And then what happened in the story is that the client told me that this was her daughter, and the daughter told the mother, who was my client, that she got that from the Tarot Lumination videos. Ha 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 ha. And so the client was trying to tell Tarot Lumination, you have to understand the reach of your videos. It goes all the way to super yachts in the south of France and up to movie stars. So that's how awesome it is here. Thank you, Steve. I'm glad you get it. So let's wrap it up. I'm going to leave it at that for you. Thank you, Gemini. Don't forget, you have 2 videos. You get 2 videos. Be loving, be loved. Love thyself. That's what we're learning how to do here. I'm learning just like you guys are learning, okay? So let's do this. I'm going to check out with a little bit of tune so we can all, you guys can all check out here. And we'll have a fun evening, and we'll get together on Sunday night, okay? So let's see. Hold on, give me a second. All right. So bear with me as I clean things up here, and we'll check out soon. So I'm going to just check out with you. Super duper people. Super duper.